Hello all, I'm Alesia Poteat, and I worked with the manuscript division remotely under the wonderful mentorship of Dr. Michelle Crowell. The Library of Congress aims to utilize archival skills to interpret collections to share an inclusive story of the American experience. Through my AHHA internship, the Theodore Roosevelt paper collection offered a case study in how to locate underrepresented individuals in archival collections. Over the course of this internship, I created a digital humanities methodology to locate African Americans in the Theodore Roosevelt papers collections between 1905 and 1909, whereas my partner focused in on the areas of 1901 to 1904. Through this research, I found 139 documents pertaining to African American experiences and recorded them in a spreadsheet to aid researchers in their efforts to do the same. Through this methodology, I found that personal paper collections of presidents differ vastly from presidential collections in their contents. First, a personal paper collection is representative of who a president chose to interact with outside of his role as president. This means that individuals from all walks of life may not be represented. However, a presidential paper collection is representative of all official correspondences a president received or sent during their presidency, among other official items. Through my research, I found that Roosevelt's personal paper collection kept with this pattern, as all correspondences from 1905 to 1909 pertaining to African American individuals were sent to and received from members of the upper echelons of society. From this discovery, while I did not locate ordinary African American voices in the Roosevelt papers, I made a few important discoveries. As mentioned before, these types of collections, while an immensely valuable resource, are indicative of who a president chose to communicate with on a regular basis and are not inclusive of all individuals who he may have contacted or interacted with in an official capacity. Further, as a result, who is represented in these types of collections are limited and marks these types of collections as better suited to political or top-down histories. Because of this, the Theodore Roosevelt papers from 1905 to 1909 do not capture the African American experience from the perspective of African Americans. Rather, they facilitate social and political histories on Roosevelt and his elite acquaintances and how these individuals were engaging with and working on the struggles facing African Americans during the Roosevelt presidency. My treasure item featured on the left of this slide captures this trend. This is a letter from William Augustus Patton, the assistant to the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad Company, sent to William Loeb, who was Roosevelt's presidential secretary. In this letter sent on March 3, 1908, Patton writes to Loeb to affirm that protection for Charles Lee, an African-American man in charge of Roosevelt's forces, was ensured for his journey from Jersey City to Washington, D.C. This document is significant and really encapsulates what I found during this internship, as it demonstrates protective measures made by the Roosevelt administration to ensure the protection of their African-American employees. The document raises questions that merit further investigation. However, it is representative of my findings, as this letter is from the perspective of affluent white men, rather than from the perspective of African Americans. The document raises questions such as what previous incident necessitated a personal letter from Roosevelt's secretary to the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad Company, and was this a typical response from the Roosevelt administration to acts of discrimination against their African American employees? I envision scholars and the public will use the Theodore Roosevelt paper collection to analyze how the experience of African Americans were interpreted by the Roosevelt administration, himself, and his elite colleagues, and to delve into how these issues were responded to as well. Thank you for your time.